It was a Monday morning in Paris. The Louvre was unusually quiet. No tourists, no guides, only silence echoing in the grand halls. A small man in a white smock walked past the guards unnoticed. He looked like any other museum worker. But what he carried hidden beneath his coat would soon shake the world. By nightfall, Leonardo da Vinci's most mysterious painting, the Mona Lisa, was gone. She spent her later years running a casino and brothel, a far cry from the respectable life of an ideal Renaissance woman. But despite her unconventional choices, she remained an enigma, a woman whose spirit could not be contained by the expectations of her time. And it is that spirit, that refusal to conform, that makes the Mona Lisa more than just a pretty face. It is a symbol of female empowerment, a reminder that beauty comes in all forms, and that a woman's smile can be her greatest weapon against a judgmental world. Or maybe, just maybe, it's just a really good painting. I'll let you decide. Gone. The empty wall stood like a wound in the Louvre. And for the next 2 years, the world searched for the missing smile that once watched over humanity. But what was it that made this painting so special? Who is this woman? Why did she become the face of obsession, theft, an eternal mystery? To answer that, we must go back. Not to the Louvre, not even to Florence, but to her eyes. Because behind that famous smile was a voice, a life, a secret. Lisa Gherardini was born into a wealthy Florentine family in 1479. At 13, she married a silk merchant, Francesco del Giocondo, with whom she had 2 children. But Lisa wasn't your typical Renaissance housewife. While her husband traveled for business, Lisa managed their household and also found time to indulge in her passions, including singing, dancing, and painting. In fact, she was quite the artist herself, which is why when Leonardo da Vinci was commissioned to paint her portrait, he chose to depict her in a 3/4 view, a technique she likely used in her own artwork. Now, when you look at the painting, do you see a woman or a girl? That's because Leonardo took a bold risk by painting Lisa at a slightly awkward age. You see, unlike other Renaissance portraits where the subject was painted with a serious expression, Leonardo gave Lisa a mysterious half-smile that has captivated viewers for centuries. In fact, the painting was initially titled The Florentine, but was later renamed the Mona Lisa after Lisa del Giocondo. And that name change perfectly captures the essence of this enigmatic work of art. For it is not just a painting, but a portal into the soul of a woman who dared to be different in a world that demanded conformity. Right before she turned 25, it was a risky move that would come back to haunt him. You see, back then, women were expected to be married and have children by the age of 14. And when Lisa was done, well, she didn't quite fit the mold of an ideal Renaissance woman. This controversial choice led to the painting being rejected by the church and ultimately became one of the reasons for its mysterious allure. But it wasn't just Lisa's age that made the painting so fascinating. It was also her smile. Lisa lived a long life, outliving 2 of her children and her husband.
One name, one story, one legacy that shaped the world. Welcome to Timeless Voices, where legendary lives come to life.
Florence, Italy. The year is 1495. In a narrow sunlit street near the Arno River, a young girl named Lisa del Giocondo sits by the window. She's only 15, with soft golden brown eyes and hands that press against her belly. She's pregnant with her first child. A man of numbers and cloth, not words and poetry. Lisa was not born of nobility, nor did she possess great fortune. But what she carried within her was something few recognized at the time. Her husband, Francesco, is a silk merchant. Curiosity. At night, when others slept, Lisa would light a candle and sketch the moonlight pouring through the shutters. She read books in secret, poetry tucked beneath sewing cloth. She didn't want fame. She wanted to be seen not for her status, but for her soul. That was when she met him, Leonardo. Leonardo da Vinci was no ordinary painter. He was an inventor, an anatomist, a dreamer lost in diagrams of birds and machines that flew before they ever existed. In 1503, Francesco hired Leonardo to paint his wife's portrait. It was supposed to be simple, a token of wealth and pride. But when Leonardo met Lisa, he saw something no one else did. She sat hour after hour, day after day, as he studied the curve of her lips, the shadows of her eyes. A kind of light beneath her silence, a strength in the way she did not smile too much, never seemed to end, but the painting months passed. Then years. Leonardo became obsessed, not with her beauty, but with her mystery. Some say he painted two different horizons on purpose to unbalance the viewer. Some say he painted her pregnant, a subtle roundness beneath her sleeve. "Do not smile too much," he once whispered to her. "Let the world wonder why." Leonardo's initials. A signature not written, but hidden. 11:52 p.m., June 28th, 2025. Behind the layers of sfumato, that smoky haze he perfected was not just oil and pigment. There were secrets. Leonardo added a bridge, a winding road, a distant valley behind her shoulders, and then there were the eyes. In 2009, a researcher peered into them with magnification and claimed to see tiny letters LV in her right pupil. But what did it mean? Was she just a subject? Or something more? Some say Lisa and Leonardo had a quiet connection, not love, not lust, but a strange, silent understanding. He saw in her the weight of every woman's silence. 11:53 p.m., June 28th, 2025. Back to 1911, he hid inside a broom closet overnight. The next morning, dressed in a white worker's coat, he walked out with the Mona Lisa hidden under glass and cloth. The man who stole her was named Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian handyman who believed the painting had been wrongfully taken from Italy by Napoleon. For 2 years, the world speculated wildly. Picasso was accused, so was the Louvre's director, but Peruggia? He had kept her in a wooden trunk beneath his bed. When asked why, he said, "She belongs to Italy, to us." In a strange way, he thought he was protecting her. 11:53 p.m., June 28th, 2025. The painting was recovered in 1913 and returned to the Louvre, but something had changed. She wasn't just a painting anymore, of invention, of light. She was a symbol. A woman with no crown, no jewels, yet more powerful than any queen. Millions stood before her glass, presidents, poets, children. And every one of them asked the same thing. Why is she smiling? She had aged, her children grown. She wore a dark cloak and carried no jewelry. 11:53 p.m., June 28th, 2025. Leonardo da Vinci died in France in 1519 at the age of 67. In his final years, he walked with a cane, his right hand paralyzed by stroke. But he still spoke of painting. In his will, he left his notebooks, paintings, and dreams to his student and lover, Francesco Melzi. Among those paintings was La Gioconda. The Mona Lisa, they say he called her the whisper that time cannot silence. 11:54 p.m., June 28th, 2025. There is a story not written in any history book, but passed down by word of mouth among the keepers of old Florentine homes. They say, one afternoon, Lisa returned to Leonardo's studio years after the painting was finished. Leonardo, older too, sat by the window mixing pigments. She stood quietly before the painting. She looked at the woman she once was. "Is she me?" She asked softly. Leonardo didn't answer. Instead, he turned to her and said, "She is every woman who has ever been misunderstood." And Lisa? She smiled. Just like in the painting. 11:54 p.m., June 28th, 2025. Today, more than 500 years later, she still watches. Behind bulletproof glass under security lights, with millions of cameras aimed at her, she remains silent, mysterious. Some try to copy her, some try to decode her, but the truth is, she's not meant to be solved. She's meant to be felt. 11:54 p.m., June 28th, 2025. If you look long enough into her eyes, past the cracks and brushstrokes, you'll feel it. Not just Da Vinci's genius, but Lisa's voice, soft, strong, still alive. Because long after kingdoms fall and languages die, the Mona Lisa remains, not just a painting, but a whisper from the past, reminding us even silence can change the world.